Alright, that was a much briefer break than I'm used to. But it's only been about half an hour since I've last played, but that doesn't matter because we're getting right to the thick of it because I want to see where this goes. Sorry, Edgeworth. I didn't mean to get you in trouble. Don't worry about it. This is my problem, not yours. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Waka waka. No, guess I am. I'll come back later. Gumshoe, what is it? You got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run all around while on duty. And to top it all off, you call me here? I've seen happier people at funerals. Oh, deja vu. I take it Lana's having you run errands again. Let me tell you, this is the last time, pal. Here, she asked me to give this to you if there was a break in today's trial. Evidence law? Edgeworth was talking about this just the other day. Booyah! I was right! Which means I need to... like, this thing here. It's gonna be like the big break in the case somehow. But apparently I won't be able to use it for anything. But then again, no. Actually. Well, no, the jar and the cloth only convict Emma. They don't convict Gant, so... Huh. Well, now I'm not entirely certain what I'm supposed to be using with this, but I guess my theory was ultimately correct. Doodle-doodle-doodle-doo. You must know the 2 rules of evidence law. Rule 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Is that right, Mr. Wright? It seems so. You could at least study some evidence law, really. The chief prosecutor also wanted me to give you a message. A message? She said, if you're planning to take him on, you're gonna need this book. Him. I guess I'll need to give this book a thorough read. Then I shall do just that at this very moment. Doesn't look like that book will do you any good now, though. Or will it? Hang on. I don't know. Let me read it first. Let's see. All right. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case in trial. All right, so I can't I can't use anything that hasn't been approved by the police department, much like the stuff I stole. But that being said, the stuff I mean, the jar was already already involved with the whole thing, but the cloth, I haven't used that for anything yet. So that means it hasn't gone through the stuff, but I don't know how this would help me in any way. I mean, I'm not entirely sure here. All that's left now is the chief prosecutor's sentence. That's where you're wrong, detective! Eh? Haven't you figured it out yet? Why I'm still sitting in that prosecutor's seat, despite all these allegations being thrown at me? Mr. Edgeworth, the real trial today hasn't begun yet. What? What else is there left to do? Your credibility's been all but ruined with this forged evidence you were unaware of. Emma Skye found out she unwittingly caused a man's death, and now you're telling me you want to do more? You gotta be kidding me, pal. You're missing the point, detective. Lana didn't murder Detective Goodman. She merely stuck a knife into his dead body. That means the real killer is still out there. What? And we're going to expose him, no matter what it takes. This case has hurt too many people. It's time to bring it to an end. Once and for all. For Edgeworth, for Gumshoe, for Emma and Lana. I'm taking that chump down. The court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor. The inquiry committee is planning to impose harsh penalties for your actions. Thank you for the news, Your Honor. Yes, well, normally this is where the prosecution calls forth a witness. But, this, isn't easy to say. You see, there is some concern that Mr. Edgeworth may have, struck a bargain. Eh? You think I may have manipulated the witnesses? I didn't say that! It's just, you see, everyone has been talking and... Very well, Your Honor. I have a solution. A solution? That being the case, the prosecution will allow the defense to call forth all further witnesses. What? But there's never been a case example. Undeniably, this is an unusual arrangement, but a very effective one. It would prove that I haven't struck any deals with the witnesses. And it would give me all power. I like that idea. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you say? Unbelievable. Edgeworth has found a way to continue the trial. Very well. The defense accepts the prosecution's proposal. Then it's settled. The defense may now call forth the next witness. Mr. Wright? You do realize this is your last chance. If you call the wrong witness, this trial is as good as over. The defense calls... The time's finally come to bring out the real murderer. Gant! Get your butt out here, you big orange weirdo! The defense calls Damon Gant to the stand. Damon Gant? What does he have to do with anything? That's what I'm going to try and figure out. As the defendant's partner 2 years ago, Mr. Gant has first-hand knowledge of the crime. I feel we should hear what he has to say about it. As luck would have it, he should still be in the courthouse. He would also be the least likely to have been manipulated by me in any way. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor? I mean... True, yeah. All right, bailiff, please escort Mr. Gant to the stand, because I'm about to throw so many books at him, he's going to be a national library. Hoo-ah! Witness, please state your name and occupation. What is this, some kind of practical joke? I was just on my way to lunch. Your name and occupation, sir. Worthy, are you sure you want to do this? Your name and occupation! So, you want to play hardball, eh? Damn straight I do. Bring it on. Fine. My name is Damon Gant. I'm the acting chief of police. Now then, Chief Gant, the court requests to hear your testimony. Oh, righto. What's with the grim face? Well, the fact that you're a murderer and I gotta find a way to prove it to the court of law. First, let's clear up this SL9 incident. Oh, you mean that time when Lana's sister murdered that persecutor? Personally, I think it's been made pretty clear already. God, you're a scumbag! There are still some things unaccounted for. Oh, like what? Like the role you played in all of this. Son, either you're very brave or very foolish. Who says I'm not both at the same time? You are aware, of course, that a police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons? Sure. Take my testimony, for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to. What? Is that true? I'm afraid so. The chief of police has the right to refuse to testify. Well, that's an extraordinarily arbitrary and random thing that he's completely annulled from. Of course, such an action carries with it certain risks. Don't worry, I'm not here to hinder your trial. Just remember, if this turns out to be a big waste of time, don't say I didn't warn you. Great, so now I gotta wiggle worm my way through all of his nonsense in order to make it seem like this all has a point. Alright, fine. Let's go, toothpaste head. As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. To make a long story short, we slipped up. That power outage didn't help either. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Apparently, she had already arranged the crime scene. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery. Is that when Dark was arrested? He was lying on the floor unconscious. When Emma sent Neil flying, it seems Dark bumped his head. I see. Everything seems pretty clear-cut. If the police chief has the right to refuse to testify, then I'd better hit him hard and fast. Okay. Alright. Let's see. Yes, you were. You most definitely were. How exactly did you slip up? So the two of you ran immediately after him, right? That's right, but Dark made it to the elevator first, so Neil and I split up. He went upstairs and I went downstairs. I guess you could say he got lucky. What's this about a power outage? Oh, that. The elevator stopped all of a sudden and I got the shock of my life. Well, probably not as shocked as Neil was when that knife went into his heart, though. How is nobody else picking up that this guy is a freaky cheeky mamma jamma? That's not funny. Alright. Is that truly what you saw? Could you tell us what you saw? It was a shocking sight. Neil and that serial killer were lying in a heap on the floor, all tangled together. Dark was also lying collapsed on the floor. Oh, sorry. Different person talking. Yes, apparently he hit his head and was knocked out. Next to them were those two poor girls, Lana and Emma. Lana was cradling Emma in her arms. Looking back at it now, she must have already known what her sister had done. Yeah. Is that a case? How can you know that? Because of the victim's body. It had already been moved. So that would mean... Dun, 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 you found the body near Lana's desk. That's right. I think you said earlier it was my suit of armor that really stabbed the prosecutor. Yes. Anyway. As you can see, I had nothing to do with this forgery. So you're saying that the forgery had already taken place by the time you arrived at your office. That's exactly what I'm saying. I can understand how Lana must have felt, but moving a body and hiding evidence are inexcusable no matter what the circumstances. Is that how it really went down? Staring at the witness won't do you any good, Mr. Wright. If you're going to stare at anything, you'd better start by staring at the court record. Worthy, always the smooth talker. But which piece of evidence ties Gant to the forgery? This, I cannot say I know. Lana did admit to forging evidence, but what on earth I have no idea here. Okay, fine. Lana did admit to inventing forgeries, but that can't be the whole truth. Somehow I've got to link Gant to the incident. Okay, well, the only thing I've really got... okay. Then I say, with great gusto and authority... Objection! You claim you had nothing to do with the forgery. But I'm afraid that is a claim you cannot back up. Explain yourself. Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. Okay, good. That's what I was banking on. It's like that's the only connection between the case and this that I have. Take this jar, for example. That's the blue badger you showed us earlier. A piece of this jar was discovered in your safe. And, how I got it is completely unrelated. Not only that, but the evidence list I presented earlier was actually found inside your desk. It was found where? You see, Chief Gant, these articles of evidence uncovered in your office are both concrete proof that you also played a part in the illegal investigation. Oh, I already know it's not going to be that easy. Alright, come on. Make up your first cover story. Oh! Here's a defense attorney who may even rival Worthy. So you admit to it then, that you were involved in the forgery? Who, me? Or do you mean you? Me? How would I have anything to do with that? Well, you were the one who snuck into my office when you found this evidence. Yeah. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence, you know. Defense attorneys can do so too. Isn't that right, Righto? However, Detective Gumshoe was present during the investigation. Worthy, my boy. Not even detectives are exempt from the law. Rest assured, Dick will receive his due punishment. What? If Detective Gumshoe's salary drops any further, he'll end up paying to work. Yes, well, in light of the detective's presence, please give us your testimony regarding these pieces of evidence found in your office. Wow, Gumshoe following us was actually probably the best thing he could have done. And the relation to the forgery that took place at the crime scene. My. Kids these days no longer know how to put two and two together. You're so full of it, it's seeping out of your ears. Let's see what it was now. A jar fragment and a list? For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Is that so? Alright, fine. Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor? When investigating the crime scene, which you should have been more careful to observe protocol. You do understand that I am the chief of police, right? There will be consequences. There won't be any consequences when I hit you against the wall. Indeed, I believe I will press charges, so you won't make the same mistake again. My apologies, Chief, but would you mind waiting until tomorrow for that? Today is, well, you know. All right, Udgy. In return, though. I know. That place, right? Eh? What are these guys, telepathic? All right, start talking. For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. I suppose, technically, but let's hold it on to that noise. I'd appreciate it if you'd stop making these ridiculous allegations. Yes, you do have a point. You wouldn't have the guts to do something like that. See, now you're just being a complete and total prick. What? I'll have you know, back in the day, I once broke into a cattle ranch and tipped. Well, Mr. Wright, what are you saying? Apparently you tipped a cow. Anyway, you can't prove you didn't carry in that evidence, can you? If you have proof to the contrary, you're going to need it later. Later? What are you talking about? What else? I'm talking about when your fingerprints are found. Oh, yes. If they're found inside my safe, they would prove your investigation was illegal. Ugh. I've never faced anyone as slimy as this guy. And let me tell you how much that counts for. My God. Or can I somehow? Eh? What do you mean by that? This is all pure hypothetical, of course. But suppose I did place those items in my safe. Such an act, well, wouldn't necessarily constitute forgery. Yeah, except if concealing evidence found at a crime scene isn't forgery. I'm not thorough speaking yet, Mr. Wright. It all depends on when the evidence was discovered. You keep saying things like that, but I'm not so certain. Are you saying this jar fragment wasn't discovered in the initial investigation? It would appear not. After all, it wasn't listed in the evidence list. For all we know, it could have suddenly materialized the day after Dark was sentenced. Well, that's stupid as hell. Oh, and wouldn't that be convenient? Right? The Chief is talking about a possibility. So long as you can't rule that out, your remarks, however clever they may be, you only succeed in wasting time. Although I do appreciate being called clever. Tell me something I don't know. Come now, Mr. Wright. Think about it. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. Okay. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Well, I feel like that just might not be the truth. Really, Chief Gant? At the very least, there is one very large benefit you've reaped from all this. Oh? I wasn't aware. What is this benefit? That would, of course, have to be the position you have. Chief of Police. Oh. The resolution of the SL9 incident secured your promotion to Chief. That in itself is sufficient motive. Yeah, it is. Oh, that's a good one. Eh? Do you really think I'm that incompetent? What do you mean? Even without that case, I was already in line to become the next chief. The resolution of SL9 merely sped up the inevitable a little. Is that true, Edgeworth? Yes. He was going to be made chief anyway. Ah, poop! Be careful when pointing that finger, or you might wind up being the one pointed at. So that means there's only one possible motivation for you to commit forgery. If you didn't do it for yourself, then you did it for someone else. It's a possibility. Don't be silly, Worthy. You know me better than that. There are only 3 people I look out for. Me, myself, and I. There. It's out in the open now. Udgy, would you mind if I changed my testimony a little? By all means, please do. I wouldn't be anyone's accomplice if there was nothing in it for me. I believe there was something in it for you. Messing around... Yo! Messing around with the crime scene in order to make sure that Emma wasn't accused of anything would lead you to be able to become the chief, and you'd be able to send Lana over to the chief of prosecutors so you'd be able to wrap your thumb around it. So yeah, you would have helped somebody else, because in turn it would have ended up helping you a great deal. Sorry, but the only person I care about is yours truly, and I don't doubt that. That girl, Lana's little sister, was it? If you think I felt sorry for her, you'd better think again. You're right. You're a complete and total scumbag that I've never even thought possible. Be tough on crime and tough on people. That's how I was raised. You seem to be lax enough on yourself, though. Ho, ho, ho! Ho! Oh, that's a good one, Worthy. Could there have been something in it for him? Given his selfishness, would he have helped someone out? Yes, he would have. True, you might not help out anyone for their sake. But if it wouldn't benefit you, you might decide to assist someone. Mr. Wright, it appears you're positively determined to portray the chief as a nice man who likes to lend people a hand. That's not what I meant. Very well, I'll ask. Who is this person you believe Chief Gant may have helped forge evidence? Bada bing, bada boom. Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye? The defendant? I believe it's quite obvious in light of the circumstances. You agreed to help protect Emma, so... And if Lana ever got out of line, you just let slip that Emma was totally the one who did all of this. That's why you held onto the evidence so you could prove it all. You held the evidence that supplied all the means needed to show that Emma was the culprit. It's a big old stinking pile of blackmail. Emma Skye fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. Who would want to help her more than her own sister Lana? And as for Chief Gant, he would also have a reason to help Lana if she asked him to. That reason, of course, is self-profit. Self-profit? What do you mean? After the SL9 incident was resolved, Lana Skye was appointed chief prosecutor at the prosecutor's office. The person who arranged this job change was you, Chief Gant. But how would he profit from all of this? He'd be able to use the chief prosecutor as his puppet. Essentially, he would acquire unchecked authority over all investigations. Do you mean to tell me that despite the chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets? I think I heard a pin drop. Oh, wait. You must mean puppet as someone forced to do his bidding. Never mind. Good Lord, Judge. Alright, admit it, Chief. You assisted Lana Skye in forging evidence. Your motive to appoint her as chief prosecutor so you could control her. Righto, my boy, you have quite an imagination. Let me ask you something. What? Do you have any proof of this? That I controlled Lana? For example, is Lana testifying that I've done such a thing? Lana. She's keeping quiet to protect Emma. There's no way she'd testify against Gant. I'm afraid without any proof, this all amounts to nothing more than mere conjecture. Unless... that is also what happened in this incident. This incident? Which one would that be? Of course I'm talking about the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. The chief prosecutor has been acting strange throughout this entire trial. Undoubtedly. Almost as if someone had been controlling her. And now we're tying him up into the real case. Oh yeah. Worthy, you'd better watch your tongue. I wouldn't want you to get hurt. Yeah, we all know that you definitely are totally looking out for him. Just, what do you mean? What he means, Your Honor, is that Chief Gant is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, but the Chief is now making Lana take the rap to cover up his involvement. What? And now things start to get interesting. I said order! Mr. Wright, you can't be serious. Huh? This is an affront to the highest ranking officer in our law enforcement agency. To accuse the chief of police of blackmail and murder? Impossible! It's anything but impossible. Your Honor, I was merely reiterating, what Mr. Edgeworth said in easier to understand language. He does use big words. It's too late, Mr. Wright. There's no turning back for us now. It looks like he's the one who's decided to go through with this. We are on a team here. It's a tag team, the likes of which no one ever done seen. Let's rock. Can you prove this, Mr. Wright? That the chief, a high-ranking officer of the law, is involved in this murder? Good question. Regardless of his rank or title, Chief Gant is just a man. The question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell. I see. Alright then, show us this evidence that ties Chief Gant to the murder of Detective Goodman. Just remember, it better be good. Evidence that... let's see, the knife. Oh! Yeah. Please let that bit have been the thing, because it ties him in because he made Edgeworth move all the stuff around. It all comes together. Come on! Ah, butts, I got it wrong. Mind if I toss something too, Udgy? This shoe should do nicely. I'll chuck it right at you. You always were quite the joker, weren't you? Oops. Looks like I got it wrong. I know it's hard with all that's gone on during this trial. Okay, we can do this. But try to think back to what happened in the evidence room 4 days ago. Now that you mention it, we did find something out in yesterday's investigation. Something that proves Gant entered that room. Oh! Looks like he wants another one of your shoes, Udgy. I gotcha. Sorry. Okay. Right. I wasn't thinking about tying him to... Right, gotcha. The ID card record! This'll do it! This is the ID card list. Yes, the one that shows who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. There was one ID on that list we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. Super 7. Sorry, but there's no way you can prove that's my card number. It's your number. What? How do you know that? The safe in Chief Gant's office requires a code to open. A 7-digit code. 7 digits? You don't mean... I'm afraid so, Your Honor. The code was Super 7. The same as the remaining ID card number on that list. Chief Gant, you entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. The music is picking up and he looks pissed. Oh, I am feeling it now. The battle isn't over, but we've definitely made a little tiny bit of a dent in that armor of yours. Chief Gant, what do you have to say? Nothing. The defense's search of my office was in violation of regulations, and I will demand Mr. Wright be punished to the maximum extent of the law. But right now, this court demands an explanation from you. It's not about me and the things I've done to do what I did. It's about you and the things you did to do what you done did. About the use of this ID card. Chief Gant, so you admit it? You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime? What about it? I'm chief of police. Whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom, what's the difference? I can go anywhere I want. Tell me, when you entered the room, were you alone? I always go to the bathroom alone, as I do with the evidence room. That's gross. Detective Goodman wouldn't have happened to have been with you that day, would he? Of course not. Why would he be? Oh, I see a stutter. I hadn't seen him in days. Oh, is that a true fact, Mr. Man? You hadn't seen him in days? Chief Gant, I'm afraid you've just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman. What do you mean? The trial's purpose is to determine Lana's guilt. Thank you, Edgeworth. No, it isn't, Your Honor. The trial's purpose is to determine the truth. If Chief Gant met the victim on the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during that meeting? In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm going to have to ask you for evidence. Show us proof that the victim went to meet... Okay, something that proves that he met with Goodman specifically. Goodman specifically. I don't think that the screwdriver, I mean, that stuff that, yeah, that helps that stuff. Okay. I'm not entirely sure. I wish the music was less epic right now because I'm not entirely certain. Oh boy. Okay. We can do this. Let's see. Okay. Something I have. Okay. The autopsy report, the grant team picture, the evidence list. No. Wait, the lost item report? To be submitted to the chief! Ha-ha! Detective Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime! Or to be accurate, Jake Marshall stole it. So, Detective Goodman filled out a lost item report. He would have had to give that report to the chief of police. Yet you are in possession of the report, which means you can't be sure if he filled it. Is that a fact? He filled it? How do I know, you ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day. He needed to? Yes, to transfer the evidence out. Oh. Detective Goodman took the form to you, Chief Gant, because he needed his thing, because otherwise how on earth would he have ever gotten into the evidence room because he didn't have his ID card? But he had to go into the evidence room because he had to do the transfer of all the evidence. The evidence that only he could get because of the fingerprint scanner. Boom, boom, boom! Then, you accompanied the detective to the evidence room. I accompanied him? You used your card to let them both in! There's no other way the murderer and the Detective Goodman could have entered the room. Booyah! Hold on. Let me guess what you're going to say next. I, the Chief of Police, murdered poor Goodman. Exactly. But wait! The Chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could have just lent him his ID card. Yes, now that you mention it, I believe I might have done something of the sort. Oh, Edgeworth says nay, with his pompous shrug of awesome. So long ago, that very gesture made me angry. Now it brings me nothing but joy. Sorry, but that's not possible. According to the record, your card was used only once. But you showed us your ID card earlier. If you had really lent it to Detective Goodman, it would have been found on his body. Whoa, what the crap was that? Oh, this is good, this is good, this is good. Alright. He's gonna keep putting up walls and I gotta keep breaking them down. The murder was most likely committed on the spur of the moment. No one in their right mind would choose the police department as a place to commit murder. That would be freakishly stupid. After the murder, you contacted Lana at the prosecutor's office. Why else? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body. However, the victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office parking lot. How did he manage to move it there? I was at the police department the entire day, you know. And everyone's aware that Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony. Everyone except me, it seems. Still, you're the chief of police. You have an entire police force at your disposal. Oh, so you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey you, take this here dead body over to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so. Oh, no, it was definitely not an officer. Chief Gant, you left all the evidence we need to prove how you moved the body to the prosecutor's office. And all this time I thought it was a useless clue just taking up space. How could the chief have moved the body? Mr. Wright, show us this evidence. To move the victim's body, Chief Gant used... Oh, I've been waiting for this one. Hazam! This is how he moved Detective Goodman's body. What's that? A screwdriver? But what does that have to do with the case? Mr. Edgeworth, think back to the day of the crime. What is this screwdriver doing here? It's here because... Now you know. I was asked to go by Chief Gant, no less. He told me he wanted me to keep it at the prosecutor's office. In any case, on the day of the stabbings, I brought this back to the prosecutor's office. And what else did you bring with you, buddy boy? After the ceremony ended that day, I didn't plan to return to the prosecutor's office. But you did, because Chief Gant asked you to. You mean The body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car! I was looking forward to using that one. Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car? Yes, unless of course you have another explanation, Chief. Why else would you have asked Mr. Edgeworth to carry evidence from a closed case? There's only one plausible explanation. To transport the body to your accomplice, Miss Lana Sky. Blech. Flub of the lines. Dramatic moments, probably shouldn't do that. Order, order, order! What's going on here? Is there no room for rebuttal to the defense's outrageous accusations? Think back to the photograph Miss Starr took at the prosecutor's office. This was not a photo of the body being stuffed in the trunk to be taken away. It was exactly the opposite. It's a photo of the body being taken from the trunk. Chief Gant, please say something. I believe... Your time's up. My time's up? Sorry, Righto, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. We have to get going if we're going to make it in time for the early bird special. But the cross-examination isn't finished yet. Remember what I told you earlier? A police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. So what, you could just say, haha, nope, later, bye. Like the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now. What? That is not a right to be casually invoked. Those are certain risks to be considered. Yeah, you're basically, aren't you kind of conceding that, yeah, I have absolutely no way of disproving any of the things you're saying, so obviously, I just have to leave. So you're just gonna run away after all this? Run away? Don't make me laugh, Worthy. I stabbed old Goodman. That's what you're saying, right? But if you had any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now. Well, You think I had Lana dispose of the body? If so, then show your proof and get it over with. I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Damon Gant is the current chief of police. This court will not tolerate any accusations against him without concrete proof. Well, Mr. Wright? Your Honor? Do you have any concrete proof? Proof that Chief Gant murdered Detective Goodman and made Miss Skye dispose of his body? Do I have any proof? Proof that he specifically did it. And that he told Lana to do it. Things that specifically point out without a shadow of a doubt that it was him and only him who could have and did do it. Then I don't think that I do. It's no use showing evidence I'm not even sure of myself. No, Your Honor. At present, I have no conclusive evidence. See, Udgy? In that case, this court is forced to penalize you for your allegations against the chief. What? I don't gamble unless the stakes are high. It seems that Lady Luck was on my side again today. Okay, Udgy, I'll leave the rest of you. No, come back. Don't fade away! Did I seriously just screw up? Because I don't know, I figured somebody else might have something, maybe? Seems like every time I'm about to get the not guilty verdict, someone runs in and says something that's useful. This is an affront to a senior officer in our nation's law enforcement agency. Oh, thank you, God! Lady Luck, huh? Maybe we should have a word with her. Mr. Edgeworth, what do you mean? There's one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial. We haven't yet had the honor of hearing her testimony. A lady who knows the truth? Another witness? In the absence of conclusive evidence, the only other method of proof is testimony. But Chief Gant has invoked his right to refuse to testify. There's still someone else. One more witness who can answer all the questions raised in the trial. Is she willing to actually finally talk? Huh? Why are you asking me, Your Honor? Have you forgotten? The defense is the one calling witnesses today. Oh, butt sandwiches. Mr. Wright, does such a witness exist? She may not be willing to tell the truth, but you can't just stop. Yeah, there's really only one person who knows. You just have to somehow force her. Miss Lana Skye. She was in the underground parking lot at 5:15 p.m. on February 21st. Her task to dispose of the victim's body. In accordance with a certain someone's orders. Mr. Edgeworth? The prosecution has no objections, Your Honor. God, it's nice to have him working with me. Very well. The court will now take its final recess for the day. In 15 minutes, we will reconvene to hear the defendant's testimony. This court is now in hold on! Huh? Chief Gant, I thought you were going to eat. Listen good, Lana. He's talking to Lana. I don't think you need me to tell you this, but if you accept Mr. Wright's claim, there will be terrible consequences. That's right. Your sister will be found guilty for Neil Marshall's murder. Of course, you'd never support such an outrageous claims anyway, right? Just something to think about. All right, then. Lana! Come on, Judge, that was the most blatant thing! Ah. This court is now in recess. We're so close, we're so close, we're so close! We just need to convince her to help! Looks like we managed to stay in the game. Yeah, thanks to your help, Edgeworth. That chief, he's something else, eh, pals? Detective Gumshoe. Ha ha ha! I'm not a detective anymore. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Ah, don't worry. I already decided where to work now. At your office! Excuse, what? Sure, I'll take the place of that top-knotted girl you used to work with. You mean Maya? Still, looks like we're all out of moves now. Oh hey, actually, you know what? That would actually work. I mean, I don't know if he was actually paying Maya though, or if that she was just doing it out of the kindness of her heart. I can only assume she was getting paid. I mean, I don't know. Either way, yeah, sure, okay. Chief Gant's done it again. How is it he always gets the upper hand? It's not fair he has the right to refuse to testify. Settle down, Wright. Remember what the judge said. This is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. Right, there has to be. Risks. What did he mean by that? It's simple. If the chief refuses to testify, the opposite also holds true. You mean he forfeits his right to say anything, too? Eh? Emma! Are you okay? Yeah, when I came to, I was in the medical office. I've been listening to the trial from the gallery. Oh, wait. I don't really see a way of getting you out of... Okay, you know what? That doesn't really matter. So she's heard everything that's been going on. Emma, I'm sorry for what I said before. No, don't be. It was the truth. You know, it's funny. I almost feel somehow relieved. Relieved? Yeah. Now I finally know what really happened. To think that all this time, my sister was being blackmailed by that terrible man. And she did it all just to protect me. Ever since her appointment as chief prosecutor, everyone who knew her said she changed. Perhaps it was easier that way for her. What do you mean? What do you think I mean? To follow Chief Gant's orders. She must have shut herself up deep inside, to force herself to do anything and everything the chief told her to do. That must be why she became so cold. It was all my fault. It's all because I murdered Mr. Marshall. Hey, don't go blaming yourself now. If you want to blame anyone, blame society, pal. Chief Gant may be able to fool everyone else with this forgery, but he can't fool my memory. I remember now. I knocked Mr. Marshall into that armor. I see. Well, we'd better get back. It's time for the final act. Emma, why don't you wait here? Oh, no. I'm going with you. I want to be there when Lana tells the truth. Let's go, Wright. It's time to end this. Let's do this thing. To be continued, my left foot. We're doing this right here, right now. I can't leave here. Let's end this right now. Now then, will the defendant, Miss Lana Skye, please take the stand? It's time to fork over all that info, lady. Miss Lana Skye, you are the chief prosecutor. I'm sure you're aware of what is required of you. But Mr. Edgeworth, you already know everything. You know all that I've done these past 2 years. Please provide the court with your testimony, Miss Skye. And remember, you are under oath. We want to hear the truth. Of course. The truth. Lana, no matter what happens, I'll always be your sister. Now then, your testimony, if you will. First, tell us about your relationship with Gant. Everything hinges on your testimony. You're the only chance we have to get Gant. Come on. Emma's down with taking with the repercussions of all this. Please, help us turn in the person who's done this to you. I worked alongside Gant for years. There's no truth to this blackmail theory. I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. When I found Prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. Oh, come on. My only motivation was to get Dark convicted. It had nothing to do with Emma. Oh, well, that's just a big old pile of nope. Huh. Are you sure about this testimony? Your Honor, I'm confessing to a capital offense. Of course I'm sure. But Lana! If this is true, then that means Chief Gant has nothing to do with this. That's what I've been telling you from the beginning. Please, Mr. Wright, you've got to help her. She's sacrificing herself because of me. But what if she's telling the truth? She's not. I know my own sister. Whenever she speaks stiffly like that, she's hiding something inside. Deep down, she's really screaming in agony. Yeah, this is no time to start second-guessing myself. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. Alright. I just need to rip the holes apart. Lies are lies, and that means they can be contradicted. Are you sure you worked for a woman for years? Maybe, perhaps it was actually merely a couple months? Ever since I made senior detective. Let's see, I was 24 then, so that would be 5 years. Detective Gant and Detective Sky were legendary partners. I personally saw them testify in numerous cases. She must have been good, coming from the same school as Mia. Damon Gant was a respectable detective. That's why. There's no truth to the blackmail theory. But think about it, Miss Sky. You didn't murder Detective Goodman. You told me as much yesterday in jail. You still don't get it, do you, Mr. Wright? Any testimony you cannot present in court is as useless as idle gossip. I stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife. Yes, you did. But you didn't kill him. Did you do so to help your sister? Joe Dark was a serial killer. My sister almost became his latest victim that day. I didn't want that incident to ruin her life. But what she did was justifiable self-defense. She wouldn't have been charged with anything. That's not the point. She was traumatized that day, all because of that creep. That's why I couldn't forgive him. Lana. So that's why you fabricated the evidence 2 years ago. I find all of this very hard to believe. You say you did this all by yourself. Yes. Would you mind telling us what you found when you arrived at the crime scene? It seems I was the first person to discover the scene. The broken Prosecutor Award knife was stuck in the victim's body. What? But Prosecutor Marshall died from an unfortunate accident. That's only a situation you dreamed was possible. The reality is, it wasn't my sister who took the prosecutor's life. Lana, come on. Fantasize all you want, Mr. Wright, but I'll never change this statement. You mean Prosecutor Marshall wound up being killed by Dark? Something like that? If that is so, what happened to the other murder weapon? Dark was carrying a switchblade knife. Oh, that was lying on the floor a little distance away. It was probably knocked away in the struggle. That's not how it went down. She's trying to cover up her lies with more lies. Oh, just to protect me. So when you found the scene like this, what did you do? After all, this is what everything boils down to. Yes. That's a likely story. You planted the tip of Drake's knife in the victim's wound, and then you moved the body. But why? Why would you do that? You of all people should know, Edgeworth. You've always had a good head on your shoulders. My head isn't that bad, but maybe I ought to ask for the sake of others. Yeah, okay, fine. Planting the knife to get the conviction, fine. But why'd you move the body? When you showed up on the scene, where exactly was the victim's body? It was where you deduced it was, by Chief Gant's desk. But the body was found by your desk. Why did you move it there? The reason for that is simple. Let's have the witness explain this in more detail. The reason Miss Sky moved the body. The pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan. Okay, I had just realized, yeah. I wasn't aware that there was more stuff being added, but nope. Pieces of the jar? You mean... Yes, that wretched jar Mr. Wright showed us earlier. In order to show that Dark committed the crime, I felt it would be more expedient to move the body. So, when you first found the body, the jar was already... Of course it had been shattered to pieces. If you looked at the crime scene, it would be clear right away what happened. Neil Marshall was dead, and Dark was lying unconscious. In other words, the jar must have been broken during their struggle. What's the matter, Emma? Apparently the jar shattered at the time the crime was committed, but I have a feeling there's more to it than that. There must be a contradiction here somewhere. Anyway, I committed this fabrication completely alone. I find that incredibly hard to believe. So you rearranged the crime scene. Are you sure you didn't do this to keep Emma from looking like the murderer? How many times do I have to tell you, Mr. Wright? Emma didn't do it. Period. Exclamation point. Are you so desperate to hide the fact? You're willing to risk the death sentence? I mean, I get it, you love your sister, but come on! Killing yourself, I mean, she wouldn't be charged. It's fine! It sucks, and it's gonna, like, probably, you know, she's probably gonna have to go to therapy for a little while, but come on! She's lying. She did it so I wouldn't be blamed for what happened. In any case, as a prosecutor, what I've done is unpardonable. There's nothing I can do to make up for my actions. Mr. Wright, my sister's lying! Looks like she's determined to protect you to the end. It's just full-on crazy time. Alright, she insists she fabricated the evidence by herself. There's no way she could have done it alone. Alright, fine. I've got to get Lana to talk more. If she's lying, then she's bound to slip up and make a contradiction. Alright, fine. I think I know it too. Alright, hang on. Let's see here. Okay. Then I think you should explain why there's blood on it! Miss Skye, I understand how you feel. You committed that crime 2 years ago to protect your sister. You mean the forgery at the scene where Neil Marshall was murdered? If that truth were to be exposed now, the past 2 years of your life will have been useless. Even so, I'm compelled to bring to everyone's attention a significant contradiction within your testimony. A contradiction in my testimony? What are you, a parrot? Because I think I've proven I can get the info out of them too. You testified, and I quote, "The pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan." That's right. Do you have a problem with that? It's simple oversight, really. You see, a message was written on the jar, you know, with the blood. Haha, yee-hoo-hoo. So, yes, the prosecutor must have written it in his final moments. Exactly so. And this is where the contradiction lies. You just said that... Oh. In order for the victim to be able to write his message on the jar, it must not have been broken before he died. Yeah, kinda obvious. He couldn't have written Emma's name on a shattered jar. Well, I mean, I guess he could have, but it would have taken a lot more effort, and he was dying. Your Honor, it would appear more information is needed in regard to this jar and its bloody message. We may be missing something critical here. Something critical? Chief Prosecutor, it seems you're as in the dark as we are about the truth towards which we're headed. What? Just tell us exactly what you saw. We'll piece together the information to arrive at the truth. Because if you don't know the truth, then that means you'll have to lie. Whether you realize it or not, it's still a lie, and lies can be ripped apart. Okay, let's do this. I immediately noticed the blood traces on the jar, but it was dark in the room and I didn't have time to check it out. To be safe, I wiped away the blood. The fragments were large, so I'm sure I got them all. Okay, well, you didn't. All I could think about was wiping them clean before they were discovered. You mean you were the one who wiped away this message in blood? I wasn't chief prosecutor at the time. She didn't think Dark was the real murderer. That's why she tried to erase the real evidence. Very well. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. And I'm gonna examine the ever-loving hell out of this noise. That's an extraordinarily bizarre thing to notice immediately. Besides, I'm pretty sure the first thing you noticed was your sister. It's a miracle that thing hadn't broken earlier. It certainly looks as feeble as the defense's claims. What the? But not as feeble as the judge's judgment. You were a nice detective who never missed a detail. Do you really expect us to believe you didn't investigate what was written on the jar pieces? Normally I would have. But it was dark in the room and I didn't have time to check it out. You had all the time in the world! So you didn't know your sister's name was written on the jar? No. If I had known, I would have gathered all the pieces and ground them to dust. Well, that helps my case. Lana, you do that for me? It seems you two might make up yet. Anyway, I just barely had enough time to move the body as it was. If someone happened upon the scene, you'd lose your chance to erase the evidence. You must have been in a hurry. I was. I knew I had to destroy the evidence before anyone came. This is rather shocking. Shockingly fake. I'm afraid this action of yours reveals what really happened. What do you mean? If you really thought Dark killed Prosecutor Marshall, you wouldn't have wiped away the blood. What else could I have done in that situation? Lana, I only had a few moments. There wasn't enough time for me to do anything else but gather up the pieces. And apparently shove a chunk of a knife in some dude's back. Aha, okay, that's true enough. But how could you see with the power out? It should have been pitch black in that office. A detective is always prepared, Mr. Wright. Even now I carry a pocket light and a camera with me. Even I carry my bottle of emergency luminol whenever I go. I never miss anything. I got every last piece. You know, except for the blood that was still on it, but whatever. Is that well and truly the case? Then what about the piece, the big honking piece, you know, the one that was in the safe? With the most blood on it? So you illegally rearranged the crime scene. Yes, I don't have any excuse for my actions. I'm so sorry, Lana, I didn't know. I've treated you so badly all this time. It's not too late. There's still plenty of time to make up. After we've gotten to the bottom of this incident. So what, do I just present the jar as a whole? Can I... Maybe, I'm not... Yeah. I must be able to just throw the jar at them. There was a big honking piece. You couldn't have gotten it then. More contradictions have surfaced in her testimony. Her sister's really putting up a fight. She must really care about you. Still, she's not doing this the right way. I think I finally figured out the contradictions in her testimony. There's one final possibility that might turn everything around. Alright. If you're so sure you got them all, then explain the chunk that I found that was soaked in the stuff. Miss Guy, I believe this jar conceals a truth even you were unaware of. What? We found the final piece of the jar in Chief Gant's safe. In the Chief's safe? But how? I knew it! She really didn't know! There's something even more disturbing about that final piece. There was... still blood on it. But the witness just testified that she gathered every last piece and wiped the blood off them. Yes, which leaves us with only one explanation. On the night Prosecutor Marshall was murdered, you were not the first one to show up on the scene. Chief Gant got there before you. But couldn't the defendant have simply missed a piece? Clearly not. I'm afraid that's unlikely. The pieces are too big for anyone to miss, let alone an ace detective. That may well be, but everyone makes mistakes. Even I wasted an entire day looking for my dentures. They were in my mouth all along. Ha! Can you believe that? Funny anecdote, but unnecessary. Have you forgotten, Your Honor? When this witness arrived at the scene, the jar was already broken. Oh, that. There's no way a name could have been written on a shattered jar. Another person discovered the scene prior to the witness. I hope you're not implying that person was Chief Gant. At the time, he was looking for Dark downstairs. Besides, oh, okay, never mind. The question is, if he did arrive there first, why did he hide that fact for 2 years? Oh, gotcha there, didn't I? Well, Your Honor, can you answer us that? Yeah. No. It's also brain hurty. Wait. I'm not the one on trial here. Damon Gant arrived at the crime scene prior to the witness. He proceeded to break the jar. He purposely hid one of the broken pieces. Question. What is this action called? Fabrication. But why would Chief Gant do that? In light of what happened afterwards, isn't it clear? What happened afterwards? Discovering the scene, Lana Skye believed her sister Emma killed the victim. Determined to help her sister, she sought Gant's aid. Lending her his aid, Gant helped her create evidence that incriminated Dark, sparing Emma. And here is the reason. The reason why Miss Skye became the Chief's puppet. Oh! Y'all just bit a nasty hole in your own thumb. I did it on my own. Please, sis, stop trying to protect the Chief. I can't watch you suffer any more for my sake. No, you didn't. It wasn't you, Emma. You didn't kill anyone. Don't believe anything Mr. Wright says. Defense attorneys make up defense attorneys make up the most foul lies to defend their clients? Okay, that's a bit of a typo. Foul lies? Imagine that coming from my own client. Yeah, I guess you do seem the type who likes to twist the truth. Really? Wait a minute! What if we're still smack dab in the middle of Gant's trap? Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Lana may be right after all. What do you mean, right? So you do tell foul lies then, Mr. Wright? No, stupid! Miss Skye, please testify once more! But if evidence was fabricated behind your back, then Emma's accidental killing of Prosecutor Marshall might also be a lie. But I do remember knocking over Mr. Marshall. Miss Skye, if you will. I can't. There's nothing to be afraid of anymore. This cross-examination may not change a thing. However, there is a possibility that it will, if you tell the truth. If you tell the truth, apparently there might be a chance that your sister was never had a crime, she never committed any sort of crime at all. Even accidental manslaughter wouldn't even be a thing. So you have no reason to lie. Very well. I'll testify about what I really saw. Please do, please do, please do. Oh, for the final time, crap cakes. Okay. Let's make it count. Let's make it count. When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled on the suit of armor's sword. Emma and Dark were lying unconscious on the floor nearby. When I saw what had happened, I thought she did it. That's why I erased all the evidence that linked her to the murder. I had Chief Gant help me remove the body from the sword and carry it. But if it all really was a fabrication, Emma might be innocent. Exactly! Unbelievable. The body was impaled on the armor's sword. You were the only one who saw that. If only you had proof. Actually, I do have proof. Eh? I gave it to Mr. Wright just this morning. What? To me? It's a picture I took of the crime scene as I encountered it. I thought it might be needed, but I don't remember receiving a picture like that. Lana must have known. See, Mr. Wright, she really does have faith in you. Very well, Mr. Wright, please present this picture. I don't remember receiving any pictures from Lana. Lana said she gave it to you this morning, right? I seem to remember getting something from her then. Let's check that evidence again. There must be a... Well, the only thing it gave me was this! Wait, what? What? It's not letting me present, and I can't... Hang on, there must be a picture in there somewhere. What are you... What? I can't... It's not letting me present stuff. The only thing you gave me was evidence law. So apparently I'm supposed to be doing this then. Okay. Can I open the book? Can I open the book? Ah! Well, holy crap! There's a picture here! I read the book! How did I not see that the first time? Oh. Oh my. This is the actual crime scene. No other detective saw the crime scene like this. That's because I contacted Criminal Affairs only after I rearranged the scene. Gasp! Mr. Wright! That piece cut from his vest, could that be the cloth we found inside Chief Gant's safe? But this... I can't use it! I can't use it, though! Okay, okay. Gotta be careful here. A handprint. That cloth, it had fingerprints on it. Whoever fingerprints those are must be the real... Okay. What? Are those fingerprints... They're yours, Emma. Why are your lips turning all purple, Mr. Wright? Oy, oy, oy. Anyway, let's get on with this cross-examination. As long as you tell the truth, we should be able to flesh out the real murderer. Very well. Let's start cross-examining. But I can't use that cloth. I know that much. Alright. Start talking to me. Whoa! What the... Okay. I accidentally threw my Wiimote. Come now, Udgy. This is the poorest excuse of a trial I've ever seen. Seriously, that shocked me so much I threw it. Oh my goodness. Chief Gant. What, now you want me to make me out as the bad guy too? If so, I'd like to put in a word or two in my defense. You can't. I'm afraid it's too late for that. What? You already declined testimony. That means you forfeited your right to make statements of any sort. This must be the risk the judge was talking about. So now you can't defend yourself at all. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the sound of the noose tightening around your own neck. Well, clearly. I know you are. Sorry to disappoint you, but I don't need to make any statements. What do you mean? The evidence will do all the talking for me. Even if I can't testify, I can still present evidence. Yes, that's true. Wait, you mean you still have some conclusive evidence? No, I don't! But someone does. Someone? So then, what's your excuse, Righto? Why have you been keeping quiet about it? You do have something to show us, right? Something that proves who knocked over Neil Marshall, causing his death. Conclusive evidence that leaves no room for doubt. Is this true, Mr. Wright? I know exactly what you're trying to do here. You can't protect yourself with words, so you're trying to make this whole thing fly out the window to begin with. No, thank you. Emma's sure to be made out as the murderer. Mr. Wright, if you have any more evidence, present it now, and if you try to conceal anything, you will be the one appearing before the Board of Inquiries. What do I do now? Yes, okay, don't worry, Phoenix. We're completely in the right with this one. We cannot show the evidence. Your Honor, I don't have any evidence that I can present at this point in time. What? You lie! Chief Gant? You opened my safe! I know you took what was inside! The conclusive evidence! Uh-huh. I don't know what you're talking about. Mr. Wright, why don't you show them? We found it together. Oh, I see. It's because you know the truth, don't you? You know whose fingerprints are on it. That's why you won't present it. No, I can't present it because it's completely illegal for me to do so. What are you talking about, Chief Gant? Can't you figure it out? Take a good look at this picture. See the victim's vest? Notice anything odd about the chest area? It looks like part of it's been cut off for some reason. You mean you had this in your safe? What? That means the chief of police, concealing evidence. This is going to be the biggest scandal in the history of the police department. Now he's trying to take on a minor offense to get away from the whole murder thing. Impressive. To be honest, I didn't think you had the gall, Righto. Well, I can't just let you pin me up as the murderer. I'll tell you what really happened. What? You mean you admit to it? Come on, spill them words, Mr. Man. I was the first person to arrive at the crime scene that day. It then occurred to me that I could use the situation to control Lana. So you really were manipulating her! I knew Lana. If I made it look like the blame lay with her sister, that when she saw the scene, she would ask me for my aid. So you assisted Miss Sky! I told her to arrange all the evidence. I had her plant the knife tip in the victim's body and move the body across the room. And I ended up using that evidence to get Joe Dark convicted. When we rearranged the crime scene, I hid 2 pieces of evidence. I did this before Lana arrived at the scene. 2 pieces of evidence? You mean those items in your safe? But why? For insurance, of course. Insurance? I was sure my plan would work, but it's always best to be prepared for the worst. I wasn't about to let anyone blame me for a murder that girl committed. You mean you were calculating that far ahead while forging the evidence? Who do you take me for, a fool? I didn't make police chief by dumb luck. No, you got it by being a scummy word I can't use. See this jar fragment? I hid the most legible part of Emma's name. I didn't expect Lana to go and wipe the blood off all the pieces. But if you fabricated all the evidence, what's to say you didn't fabricate the message on the jar too? Ha ha ho! Some people just don't know when to quit, do they? That's why I kept one more item for insurance. Is that so? You mean that piece of cloth? Come on, Righto. Cough it up already. I know you have it. What are you waiting for, Mr. Wright? So, you admit to it then, Chief Gant. That you were hiding the cloth you cut off the victim's vest in your safe? Yes, I admit it. I didn't want to have to do that being chief and all. But it's a lot better than being portrayed as a murderer. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say for yourself? Just a moment ago, you said you didn't have any evidence you could present. Foolish move, Righto. You should have shown it then before it was too late. Uh-huh. It's been a long battle. But the moment of truth has finally arrived. As long as I don't mess up here, victory is mine. Fine. Your Honor, I do have evidence to present now. Alright then, let's see this conclusive evidence. The evidence that shows? Alright. If that's what you want me to do. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest? Oh, yes. At last, you finally brought it out into the open. Yep, there's a handprint on this piece of cloth. Your Honor, the prosecution requests that immediately be sent to the lab for analysis. This handprint on the leather, there must have been a strong impact for it to be left so clearly. You mean, it could not have been forged? It must be authentic, conclusive evidence. Mm-hmm. Phoenix, I know we got this, boy. I know we got it. You're as slow on the uptake as Otherworthy. What? Think about it. Righto had all this time to present this evidence. It's true. I didn't show it, yet he was reluctant to do so. Why would that be? Due to the legal ramifications. You mean you already know? You know whose fingerprints are on that? Mr. Wright, do you really know? Whoever the fingerprints belong to must be the real murderer. Whose fingerprints are they? We got this. Very well. I'll tell you. Should be okay now. Everything's proceeding as predicted. We've got this. Emma Skye? What? They're mine? Sorry, Emma. But why? Why didn't you tell me? It's okay. Just work with me here. Oh, ho, ho, ho. You're really something, Righto. You knew this girl did it all along, and you still tried to pin the murder on me. So it's true. Tragic but true. This girl really did shove Prosecutor Marshall to his death. How could you? You monster! Miss Skye, you knew whose fingerprints those were all along, yet you acted like she really didn't. Because she didn't, Miss Skye. It's not over yet. What? I said this trial isn't over yet. But I'm afraid it is over, boy. Not only this trial, but your career, too. You purposely concealed this conclusive evidence. That, my friend, is a serious offense. Uh-huh. I'm looking forward to pressing charges after the defendant is convicted. I'll have your badge, boy. Yeah, you keep saying words, but I don't think you know what many of them mean. What's the matter? Cat got your tongue? Aren't you going to tell us how it feels? How it feels to be the one who single-handedly turned a poor little girl into a murderer? Before I do that, there's just one little thing I have to clear up. Oh, and what's that? Who really killed Prosecutor Neil Marshall? What? Chief Gant, you are absolutely right. This piece of cloth proves who the real murderer is. Who killed Neil Marshall, you ask? It was Emma Skye, wasn't it? I'm afraid that's not possible. You see, this piece of cloth contains a critical contradiction. What? A contradiction? What is this fool's babbling about? Oh, you say things along the lines of the babblings. I'm talking about a contradiction. One that proves who the real killer is. We got him now. Mr. Wright, this piece of cloth, what could it possibly contradict? Chief Gant, your tyrannical reign ends here. Behold, the piece of evidence that contradicts this cloth. I can do that, I've got it. I just have to... And what exactly is this supposed to be? This is the picture Miss Skye took. Take a good look at it. See where the piece of his vest was cut out? You might notice a thing that might possibly be missing from the piece of cloth that I now have. Yes, his shirt is showing underneath. It's hard to make out with all the blood on his vest, though. Exactly my point. His chest is soaked in blood. That's only natural. His lungs, no doubt, were punctured. Blood poured out of his mouth. Oh, but that piece of cloth! Bone dry, baby. Wait, there's no blood on it! Since Emma Sky's fingerprints are on this cloth, there's no doubt that she shoved the prosecutor aside. But Mr. Marshall was not impaled on the sword! No, this is nonsense! Oh, is it then? Now then, Chief. Gant, please, let me ask you something. Prosecutor Marshall was not impaled when he was shoved aside. He most likely hit his head on the ground and was knocked out. If so, then tell me, who could it have been? Who could have arrived at the scene before Miss Sky? Picked up the unconscious prosecutor and impaled him on that armor's sword. What do you got to say? Then, to make it look like Emma was responsible for the prosecutor's death, said person proceeded to write her name on the jar with the victim's blood. Then he broke the jar on purpose to leave behind a clue. And make Lana believe her sister did it. Remember what you admitted only moments ago? That you personally cut out this borderless piece of the victim's vest? Ironic, isn't it? Through the very act of creating insurance, you proved that you were the actual murderer. Yeah, that's what I like to see. Oh, we're done here. I already know. I saw this coming too. I hear what you're about to tell me. Oh, that was close, Righto. You almost had me. Oh, really? Tell me, how exactly has this not worked out for me? Sorry, but you'll have to do better than that. I refute your allegations. What do you mean you refute his allegations? You see, that piece of cloth is illegal evidence. It might have been at one point, but not anymore. I feel so awesome. I feel so smart. Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a suspect. Remember, Udgy? Earlier, old Rhino here concealed that piece of cloth. Yeah, because it was illegal then. Yeah, here's the thing. I never said I didn't have evidence. I said I had evidence. I didn't have any evidence that I can present. Boom, 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 and I just beat Chief of Police with one of the most standard rules in all of the court system. The defense did refuse to present evidence. At that moment, that piece of cloth ceased to be legal evidence. But that's not fair. Did you actually think you could best me in court? I very much think that I could. And the amount of sweat you're tripping on, I think you know that I could beat this last bastion of hope that you have. It looks like the last laugh's on you, son. Uh-huh, sure it is. I'm afraid Mr. Gant's claim is legally correct. Well, Mr. Edgeworth? True. Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a person. Assuming, of course, that the evidence is indeed illegal. Eh? Well, Mr. Wright? Edgeworth gets it. It seems at last. The time for me to reveal my plan has finally arrived. Do you admit to it? That you purposely and illegally concealed this piece of cloth? I did not purposely conceal this illegally. Certainly. I refused to present evidence at one point. Aha! So, the evidence is illegal. No, it's not. No, it isn't, Mr. Gant. Huh? It's not that I didn't present evidence then. It's that I couldn't. What do you mean you couldn't? There are certain procedures involved when presenting evidence. No, Huggy, don't listen to his lies. He's nothing but a coward. You can't let him. There's only one issue left to be resolved in this trial. Is this evidence legal or not? And I got the answer. Let us settle this once and for all. Earlier, you refused to present evidence. If you can prove your conduct was not in violation of the law, then do so now. I can with this beautiful little number. This is my proof, Your Honor. Evidence law. What's this? I've done my homework too, Chief. Indeed, Emma Sky's fingerprints were on this piece of cloth. However, at that point in time, this was merely a piece of cloth. I accidentally just punched my microphone. It was a piece of cloth, nothing more. What? You see, it's written right here in this book. the second rule of evidence law. Rule 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. I found this piece of evidence myself inside your safe. It goes without saying, I did not have approval from the police department. Rule number 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case in trial. And here's the crux of the matter. You see, at the time it was impossible for me to prove the relevance between the cloth and the SL9 incident. What? What kind of nonsense is this? You want relevancy? Just take one look at this picture and... Yeah, yeah, okay, great. Yeah, I appreciate the desperate attempts, but you recall when was that picture presented? That was shown only a few moments ago. Oh, he's right. At the beginning of today's trial, that piece of cloth was still meaningless. There was no connection to it. Who knew it was part of a vest? Nobody! The person who gave it value as evidence was you, Damon Gant. Because you knew I had it, and you knew that it would help you, and you knew that if I busted it out that it would have been illegal and I would have gotten caught and everything would have worked out perfectly for you, but I was just too smart for you this time, jackass! You yourself confessed to a certain truth. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest? Oh, yes. No. It was then that you approved this cloth as conclusive evidence, thereby making it no longer illegal. Yes, you, the chief of police, personally approved this cloth. What higher court could I have gotten it from? It's the only person who could have cut this from the victim's vest is the one who stood before the prosecutor marshal in his final moments. In other words, the real murderer. And there's only one person who that could be. Damon Gant. The killer was you! I knew I should have gotten rid of him. That good-for-nothing scum! For 2 years he's been snooping around the department trying to get something on me. Crimes are being committed every day, yet he insisted on hounding me. Well, your crime wasn't exactly petty. Murder, extortion... Wait, it was double murder! You killed both of them! He wanted to reinvestigate the case. He recruited Angel Starr, then convinced Bruce Goodman. Detective Goodman? Yeah, that's right. If the evidence is transferred, I'll lose my only chance to find out the truth. Please, you gotta help me. Goodman turned him down, as he ought to. Still, Jake Marshall didn't know when to quit. He stole Goodman's ID card and tried to take the evidence. Goodman came to me that day. He wanted to file a lost item report. I went with him to the evidence room. Then all of a sudden he had to speak out. What are you talking about, Goodman? Can you please reopen the investigation, Chief? We can't transfer the evidence out. There are too many questions left unanswered. He told me to open up the evidence room and take it out. It's not too late. I'll hand this to Marshall. Well, to be honest, I was a little panicked too. I had a bad feeling about it, but never knew it would come to this. That's when I saw it. That accursed knife. I couldn't just pull it out. You would only increase the amount of blood and you couldn't finish what you started. Even so, the blood was just pouring out. I didn't know who might stumble in, so I was wiping it up. I was worried so much about the floor, I didn't realize my mistake. Detective Gumshoe's bloody handprint. Or his locker's, it wasn't his. I used to be known as the crime computer, but everyone has to start somewhere, I guess. I was too nervous. I had no business doing any of it. Then you put the body in my car? I'm sorry. We couldn't think of any other way to move the body. We broke the trunk, but what's the big deal? You pulled down a lot more than us detectives. Ugh. What does this have to do with anything? You're horrible! How could you get Miss Skye involved in all of this? Well, she had as much to lose as I did if the truth came out. So you took the evidence from Detective Goodman's locker? I feel bad for having to do it. I couldn't sit around and pick and choose what to take. Well, you left the jar fragment and gloves. Yeah. It looks like I was better off being an investigator of crimes than a committer. Damn straight, asshole. They all did their best to get in my way. I've got to hand it to them. They do their jobs well, much to my dismay. Fake evidence doesn't hold up very well upon close examination. You must have known that. Tell me, Worthy, what are you doing in court? Me? You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me, we're the same. Really? You're gonna pull out that cliched little nut? Get out of here. One day you'll understand. If you want to take them on alone, you'll figure out what's needed. Well, looks like it's time to say goodbye. Oh, Udgy. What? Looks like we'll have to cancel that lunch date. Sorry, old friend. I'm sorry too, Damon Gant. I knew you as you used to be long ago. You were once a fine investigator and an example to others on the force. I'm sorry to learn that you are no longer that person. Those days are gone now, Udgy. Thanks for all the memories, though. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Now you have Wright here. And Worthy. With these two around, you can't go wrong. You see, if I listen carefully, I can hear it right now. The sound of a new beginning. There are two things I want you to understand. Yes? First, your sister never hurt anyone. Second, Damon Gant betrayed you from the beginning. You see, Miss Skye, you no longer have any reason to keep silent. You're right. When this trial is over, I'll tell everything. All that I've done these past 2 years. From the time I had Gant help me forge evidence up till today. So you're still gonna get tried for some things. You still did stuff. Being extorted, regardless. But one thing you definitely never did was hurt anybody. It seems all the questions raised in the trial have been answered. I'm sorry, Miss Skye. I couldn't get you out of all of your trouble. My, what high standards you have for a rookie. I can see why Mia thought so highly of you. Who knows? A few years from now, you just might make it to the top. Oh, that's nice. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. Miss Skye. And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. Believe me, I know how much of an ordeal it's been for you. It was nothing. The liar. I was worried the pressure might break you, and yet, you rose above it all and guided Mr. Wright to victory. You've done well, Mr. Edgeworth. Stop it! I only did my job! In light of this case, it seems a good self-examining is in order for all of us. Miss Skye? Yes, Your Honor. You are innocent of murder. However, although the Chief blackmailed you, the fact is you still acted as his accomplice. A trial will be scheduled for these crimes at a later date. Yes, I understand, Your Honor. Is there something amusing about all of this? Why are you smiling? It's been a long time, Your Honor. A long time since I felt free of these heavy chains. Well, this trial has gone on far too long already. Yeah, this was definitely the longest possible trial ever. Regarding the charge of murder, this court finds the defendant, Miss Lana Skye. That is all. The court is adjourned. At long last, it's finally over. Emma? Why the long face? I'm sorry your sister didn't get completely off the hook, but at least she wasn't convicted for a murder she didn't commit. No, that's not it. Just now, after the trial ended. I can see why Mia Fey thought so highly of you. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. You've done well. You know, I did my best too, but Lana didn't say a single word to me. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, Waka Waka! Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. Oy vey, get your butt back over here, you ninny. Doing this on purpose, aren't you? Making a detective run around all on duty. Yeah. Lighten up, pals. I'm only kidding. Oh, are you here because of my sister again? Nope, not this time. I came today because of you, pal. Me? That's right. I thought you'd like to see someone. Lana! Should you be doing this? She's still under arrest, you know. Well, I won't tell if you won't. Emma, I owe you an apology. It's okay, sis. Don't worry about it. That day 2 years ago was the first time in my life I ever panicked. It was all I could do to keep myself from screaming. All I could think about was keeping you from getting wrapped up in that mess. Sis, I asked Gant to help me cover up the truth. I thought I was doing it for your sake, but now I realize I was wrong. I changed after that day. I had to. It was the only way I could make it through the past 2 years. I knew how much I was hurting you by distancing myself, but I couldn't bring myself to tell you what I did. I was scared. Scared that you'd look at me with those eyes of yours. I was scared of how you'd react if you knew. But sis, you were only doing it for me. No. Huh? I turned my back on you that day. In hiding what I believed to be the truth, I was deceiving you. Sis, I'm such a fool. It took me all this time to realize it. Emma, I'm so sorry. But sis, you don't have to apologize. I'm happy now. You're happy? Of course. You know, sis, I always knew that one day you'd come back, and now you have. Oh, Emma. Emma! Oh, now that's just heart-wrenching. No one can change the past. The only thing we can do is strive to make up for our mistakes. Why must we make up for our mistakes, you ask? Because in so doing, we can find the way back to our path. And once we found our path, we can move on from our past mistakes towards a brighter future. At least, that's what I felt looking at those two sisters make up. Mr. Wright? Mr. Gumshoe? Me? Thank you both for all that you've done. I'm sure we'll meet again someday. Isn't that right, Edgeworth? Edgeworth? Stop hiding and come over here. Where was he hiding? I just came to say congratulations. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth! Right, well, I'll be going now. Mr. Edgeworth, I hope you don't blame yourself for what happened. Huh? We were the ones who acted corruptly, not you. It's too late for me. What? No matter what anyone may say, I realized today that I can't change my own mistakes. Mr. Edgeworth. Not only that, but I don't even trust myself anymore. Chief Gant was right. You can't possibly be taking what he said to heart. Come on, Edgeworth, you're smarter than that. I do despise criminals. I plan to dedicate my entire life to fighting them. But in order to fight crime alone, one needs a weapon. It's scary, but I've been thinking the same thing for quite some time now. But Edgeworth, who knows? Given enough time, I might have tried to pull something like Chief Gant did. We both know that's not true! That thought terrifies me. That's why I can't continue on as a prosecutor. Edgeworth, don't you understand? Damon Gant and your mentor, Manfred von Karma, were both the best of the best when it came to fighting crime. But they both made the same mistake. You said in order to fight crime alone, one needs a weapon. That may be right. But think back to today's trial. You weren't alone. You were working together with Mr. Wright. And because of that partnership, you were able to present evidence that otherwise would have gone undiscovered. Isn't that right, Mr. Wright? Huh? What? Oh, yeah. What is this, a pop quiz? Come on, Mr. Wright, show him what Lana's talking about. Evidence that neither Edgeworth nor I would have been able to find on our own? Well, the only thing I can think of would be this. That's the picture I drew. Our counterattack began with this. You had one half of the evidence list and I had the other. Apart, we wouldn't have been able to completely restore Emma's picture. With just one of them, they would have completely been useless. But both? That didn't just happen by chance, Edgeworth. It's time for me to go. Mr. Edgeworth, if you'll excuse me, there are still some loose ends that need wrapping up. Take care, Chief Prosecutor. Edgeworth! What will you do now? Well, whatever you do, just remember, what happened in this trial can either make or break you as a prosecutor. In the end, it's up to you. I know. It seems I owe you my thanks too, right? But what I face now is my problem. Edgeworth, I'll be waiting for you in court. Farewell. I'd better be getting back too. Okay, I'll come visit you. It seems we both still have a lot to learn. Here, this is a little something for you. Scientific investigation. It's the first book I ever bought. Study it well. Thanks, sis, I will. And so, another case came to a close. As for the sisters, I have faith. Faith that their lives have only just begun. And as for me, I think it's time I started on a new journey of my own. A journey to rediscover myself. Well, don't go trekking off just yet, pal. Eh? What is it, detective? There's just a little matter to be resolved about the chief prosecutor. You see, she isn't supposed to be out of jail like this, but I thought you said it was okay. Yeah, well, it may be okay with me, but the folks at the prison are a different story. Eh? Basically, I had to bribe a guard in order to sneak her out for 30 minutes. Believe me, it wasn't cheap either. Way to go, detective. I didn't know you had a wild side. Yeah, well, you see, Mr. Wright here is the one who will be footing the bill. What? Huh? Well, you think I could afford that with my salary? You gotta be kidding me, pal. Thank you, Mr. Wright. You're the best. Why is it I suddenly feel like I want to scream? Since we're all here, why don't we all go together? Yeah, that's a great idea. Come on, guys. Let's go. I arranged for a friend of mine in Europe to take care of Emma. She's a coroner. I think Emma will be pleased. As for me, this affair has pretty much ended my days at the prosecutor's office. Still, I managed to find my way back to the field somehow. Then I'll be able to investigate crimes together with Emma. Damn straight you will. That, ladies, gentlemen, everyone in between, was Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, originally for the Game Boy Advanced, apparently ported over to the DS with a bonus case, and then also repackaged onto the WiiWare Virtual Console thingy. Then he overlooked my unauthorization investigation of the Chief's office. If we penalize you anymore, it'll be worse than firing you. Oh, hey. Yep, that's what they said. It just goes to show, you can't shake me off that easily. Ain't nobody gonna be firing Gumshoe. I'm so sorry. So sorry it took me so freakishly long to finally get to this. I cannot apologize enough. I can only hope that this was at least partially worth the wait. I know so many of you wanted to see this, and I can't apologize enough for making you wait for so long. My new mission is to guard the main entrance and take care of Billy. Can you believe it? I've been demoted to security guard. My partner's keeping an eye on the entrance for me today. I'll show them, though. Someday I'm going to make detective. Yes, sir, then I can be just like that Dick Gumshoe. Gumshoe's got a fan. I can't say. I want to be able to tell you when we'll be playing the next Phoenix Wright game. I know there are tons more to play, and I want to play them for you. But I cannot tell you when it'll happen. Just that it will, I promise you this. While I can't say I know when it will happen, the instant that it is available to me, I will record it immediately. Aw, poor Badger. I promise, the instant it becomes available, you'll get more Phoenix Wright. I promise. That much I can definitely tell you. And now... Oh, what is it? Can you see I'm having a shakedown with a steak lunch partner? Miss Star managed to sneak this into me. She's staring on one of the guards, it seems. Well, cowboy, it looks like you did it. You see, he even gave Bambina back her smile. Can you make sure Billy and the gang get their water? Luckily, cactuses don't need much water. And with this extraordinarily long chapter in my Let's Play career finally over, I can move on with a clear conscience. Looks like we won't be seeing each other for a while. As a farewell gift, I put a new meal on the menu. The Right Way lunch. The top layer tastes as bitter as defeat, but the bottom layer's as sweet as victory. Kids seem to dig the turnabout theme. It's a hot seller around exam time. Just make sure not to eat it backwards. That's actually rather nice of you. I know not what the future lays in store for me or any of us, but I promise to never go away. I'll be standing right beside each and every one of you, and I'll do everything I can to make sure that you have a happy day. I'll never forget what that young defense lawyer said after the trial. Let's see, what was his name again? Mr. Left? Oh, come on, Judge. Anyway, he said he's been doing something or another for, how many years? Well, anyway, I've got another trial to get to, so I'd better be... Huh? Oh no, I forgot my gavel. Sorry, gotta go. When things look their bleakest, just know, I'll always be here for you guys. And I'm gonna keep on playing games to the best of my ability to help you smile, just a little. Until next time, I'll see you guys later for a brand new Let's Play. Nothing soothes the soul like fresh country air. Still, sometimes I do miss hearing Nick and his objections. Still, I can't go back and tell him a full-fledged spirit medium. Ah yeah, afternoon training's about to begin. Coming! Well, see you around, Nick. Yeah. The future looks bright.